Thank you very much for staying tuned to the Nigerian Television Authority. You're watching the Medley Show with me, Cecil. My name is Cecil Egbele, of course. And today we'll talk about something that has to do with you. Yes, you. No, not, yeah, you particularly. Many times you get to break so many rules. Why? Why is that so? Well, we're going to tell ourselves the very many blanket truth on the program today. Our culture of indiscipline. At one point in time, there used to be the war against indiscipline. Yes, I guess that went on pretty well during that time. Well, at what point did we go? We did get it wrong. At what point did we gradually start developing the culture of indiscipline? I call it a culture because it seemed to be normal. Like we seem to be going the wrong way, that going the right way seems to be abnormal. Have you thought about many instances where you are doing the right thing? Maybe you are driving and you know, when you're driving, you don't tailgate, you don't get too close to the bumper of the other person. You are giving that distance. Then someone from the just comes to overtake you, like, this person not serious. It just comes, like, you now start wondering, was I actually doing the wrong thing, giving that accurate and that proper distance? There are many instances where I would say we just act mindlessly and really don't care. It becomes so normal. And unfortunately, we also realize that those who are supposed to enforce to see that perpetrators of these acts are brought to book are also guilty parties. Well, not all of them, but a number of them. Well, to join me talk about the culture of indiscipline amongst us and what you're doing wrong, how you can get it right. Two ladies with me on set. I would like to introduce first the lady on black. I'm talking about the lady with a voice many admire, Iyaode. Iyaode is of the Luxera Leadership Foundation. Thank you very much, Iya, for coming around.
Thank you, Cecil. Great to be here.
Great to be here. I would really love to hear you. For those of you who don't know, Iyaode used to be one of the very popular voices on Nigeria Info here in Abuja. All right, sitting next to her is Medley Edekobi. She is the Special Duties and State Operations Director of the NOA.
Yeah, you're correct. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you very much for coming around. Let me just start with you. Change was supposed to begin with us. Whatever happened to that slogan, right? That campaign?
Yes. Well, indeed, change begins with you, as we say it. Change begins with me. It means whatever you expect somebody else to do, you are doing it yourself. And the change begins with me. May have started as a campaign or maybe a slogan, but something you should remember to do.
Okay.
Whenever you remember, you recall that, okay, like you said, you're driving, like we say here in Nigeria, bumper to bumper. Is it right? I know the right thing to do. So that change should begin with me, not somebody else. And that was the message. And that still is the message.
Yeah, but it seemed not to have gone as far as we thought it should. I mean, I don't even hear it anymore.
Oh, well, it's like you read the Bible or you read the Quran. It is personal to you. What resonates comes to you as a person. And there's no place where you have read in your Bible or the Quran that says do wrong. So, but you see others that have done wrong in the Bible or the Quran, and you learn from their error. And you've seen people who do right in the Bible and the Quran, and you follow through. So whatever message we are sending even today, you're saying, I'm putting before you right and wrong. Choose right. And so when you tell somebody, a child, to choose right, don't put your hand in the fire. You are not expecting the child to forget it. So if you are saying the same thing to adults, you do not expect the adult to forget that it was a campaign, so that time has passed. It does not pass. You're supposed to imbibe it. And you don't need anybody to follow you with a cane or a whip to say you must know the right thing to do. You know it. Why are you not doing it?
Okay, well, she said it right. Now, yeah, let's roll back. War against indiscipline. I don't know. Well, it's not like I was particularly know exactly how it happened then, but we know that at that time it was a very strict era. I think that was a military era, and everybody kept to the rule. I don't know if I don't know how old you are, so I was going to
I'll
ask
be
you.
45 in October.
You'll be 45 in October. Okay, yeah, so you can tell us, war against indiscipline.
Well, from what I remember, yes, it was a very, very interesting time. Though there was a lot of brutality, there was a lot of there were questions raised about that era. But then Nigerians followed the rules. So it was a time of it was a mix. It was a mixed match. So like yes, we're the rules and all that. So with all the rules, but then a lot of punishment and tax on the when we not flow. A lot of people like yes, what you like for year from 85, where our president was tested, right? And things on the in interesting ways, things around people the rules.
That was our first point.
Absolutely. Now, so they were doing, but really, look at it. What they say about good and good that you have, right? But if you choose evil, what's the consequence? What's the repercussion? There's always a repercussion. There's just consequence for evil. That's what we actually saw in bring that period. Yes. It
was what's the voice? Let's see, like
into send away say this.
people don't know.
Yes, you know, say they and when there's environmental sanitation, they are the ones who go out because they don't carry arms, they don't carry anything, so they are taught to repeat these slogans, these teachings. They go to schools, primary schools, secondary schools, and they teach them all the core values. So we still do that. So I was waiting for her to finish that. Coming out of that, we have the White Brigade, and all they did then was to civil. What would that word be? Civil and crowd control.
Yeah.
They didn't beat anybody. They didn't do any of what those who should. But if you look carefully at the Nigerian society, we know what to do. If you just a Nigerian travels to Benin Republic, he will follow all the rules he meets there.
Tell me about it.
He will not do anything wrong. But as soon as we get down the aircraft,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's like all of us.
We were
just
talking
talked
about
it.
it
As soon as the plane alights,
I actually said, as soon as the plane is hovering
Yes,
over Lagos, or
yes.
Abuja, that's when.
I was not
our
here when you
consciousness
had that
changes.
conversation.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
as soon as we see the skylines of Nigeria, even when the pilot
it's
is
a
saying
mindset shift.
everybody should be seated,
Seated.
no.
Yeah.
But when we were going, even when they tell you to stand up, you will not stand up.
Right.
You will wait until you get there. So it means it's something we have we know to do, but we refuse to do. But because if you know what to do outside and you don't want it done in your home, exactly, are you undermining your own country? Are you saying that we are people that are lawless, and so the only way you get through things is to be lawless? It's like something you are telling yourself you must do, because we all do. We all sit right. Even when you're passing through security in other countries, they don't smile. They don't even say how now, welcome, nothing.
Yeah.
But you just know to behave yourself. They are not looking at your face. They are just doing exactly what they want to do.
Yes.
It's painful.
All right, so let's look at many of the very popular places we break all these rules. Let's start with the road.
Okay.
Like, I was telling my boss that I read in one post, someone said, in other parts of the world, green is go, amber is go with caution, red is stop.
Right.
In Nigeria, green is go, amber is keep going.
Yes.
Yeah, red is
just
check if there is no police or road safety. Then go fast.
Yeah.
My boss said no. Green is go, amber is go, keep going. Red is just continue going.
It sounds so funny, and it's it's a joke, but it's the reality of what we are facing and what we are faced with right now. It's a sad reality too, because as Mete said, we know what is right to do. Red is stop. Green is go. Amber is wait small. and just be
Just
cautious,
cautious.
just wait, right? But then the way we break this and flaunt it, it's befuddling. I remember a time, because you're trying to teach your children the right thing to do and all of that. And I remember a time I broke a traffic light. I broke a red light, and my son was about 6, 7 then. And I was taking him to school, and I saw we're getting late. I was like, no, let me just go. And when we passed, we had passed though, and I thought everything was okay. Then my son now goes, Mommy, that light, was it red? Oh my goodness. I felt so ashamed. And I had to apologize to him. I said, see, I am sorry for teaching you a bad example. I'm sorry for showing you that wrong example. I did something wrong, and I'm sorry about it. And I said, it's okay. But that taught me a lesson. That, and I wonder what kind of teachings we're actually passing on. When I see parents with their children in their cars, breaking through red lights, driving recklessly, and all of that, I feel sorry for the children, because I wonder, what lessons are we teaching these young ones? Because it's a cycle. And if we don't break it, then it's going to break us. That's the point.
Okay, that's strong. And but very quickly, you can be part of this conversation. Reach us on our phone line 081 177 82020. Tell us, what are some of the many culture of indiscipline that you see exhibited that really gets you angry, that you frown out? Do share with us instances. Maybe just send it to our phone line, WhatsApp and text only. And then we'll take a feature now, and this feature is going to take a look at some road traffic offenses. And when we get back, we'll have this conversation with Medley and Iya.
In Nigeria, unsafe acts of exceeding expected speed limits, use of vehicles with unauthorized plate numbers, overtaking at ill points, overloading, use of phones while on the wheel, failure to comply with traffic lights and signs, driving against traffic, aggressive use of the horn, use of provocative gestures, and verbal abuse are just some of the numerous traffic violations we adopt as a lifestyle. These traffic violations have been observed to be a rampant offense for both private vehicle owners and commercial drivers, and in some cases, official vehicles. In a bid to maximize profit, many commercial drivers ignore traffic regulations. They drive on the shoulder of the road or pedestrian walkways when there is a gridlock, stop to pick up passengers at undesignated spots, overload their vehicles, and ignore other rules. These actions, they presume, will reduce unproductive time spent on the road and translate into more money. Motorists often commit a combination of these offenses, which oftentimes results in accidents, sometimes fatal. Some vehicle operators drive in directions prohibited by law, claiming that they are in a hurry, or that roads are prohibited by law and blocked due to vehicle limits. Simple as failing to display a reflective warning sign at the point of the vehicle or not appear, or operating a private car as a commercial car, or driving with a dim or no headlight indicator light missing. They attract severe penalties. According to the National Bureau of Statistics data for the second quarter of 2021, speed violation was the whole cause of road accidents in Nigeria, as 2,152 violations were recorded. Followed by light and sign violations at 440. Wrongful overtaking has been an offense perpetrated by many and is recorded as the third major cause of accidents at 303. Dangerous driving and burst tires complete the top 5 significant causes of accidents for the period, and they are recorded as 251 and 189 respectively. The NBS records that 1,604 of these accidents involved cars, 1,154 were motorcycles, 821 minibuses, 634 trucks, and 222 tricycles. It goes further to say that 3,324 of these accidents involved commercial vehicles, 1,766 private cars, and 44 were government-owned vehicles. Ogun State recorded the highest number of causes with 337, while the FCT comes next with 252 cases. Nasarawa State comes closely behind with 242 cases, as Kaduna and Oyo States complete the top 5 with 222 and 152 cases respectively. Several questions are begging for answers. If the road traffic laws are designed to ensure smooth traffic flow and respect for other road users, why do Nigerian motorists violate them at will? Are the enforcement officers doing enough to administer penalties? When the enforcer of the law breaks the law, who sanctions him?
I will try to arrest the car, followed one way, and this is what happened. So now we go do this case now.
It's not like I'm particularly laughing, but that question that the guy asked, who gonna do this case now? I mean, they
believe that under the circumstances that their pursuit of an offender, it's not an offense to do so. But I believe it is also an offense. Like when somebody has offended and you jump into the person's car. I don't know which part of the traffic rule that allows that, because you are not only endangering your own life, because if the person is mad and decides to take you on a stroll, you can't tell where, but I don't know where the rule applies that you should jump into the car of an offender, you know, to make an arrest. But, you know, going by what we have just watched, I think it should be said categorically that the fact that you are trying to catch a thief, that's the offender, and then you do wrong, your wrong still stands out. It does not eliminate the fact that you did wrong, in as much as you were trying to do right, but you don't do right by doing wrong.
Exactly.
So that's why the man's question is apt. Now who go?
Yes, now who go come judge that one? Because now I'd like to ask you, on the road, what's that thing that really annoys you about other road users? For me, it really annoys me when I'm just behind someone, he's driving in the middle of two lanes. He's not here, and I'm confused.
And it's not trafficating.
It's not to show whether you want
between lanes, and it's so confusing and very annoying.
Very confusing and annoying. Now, you can't overtake at the right side, right? Now, you're trying to overtake here. He now comes here. You're not wondering, guy, can you just decide where you are? That's what annoys me for you.
I don't know, many things get to me on the road, but that level of indecision really, and how people just flout traffic rules really gets to me. Why I say this is, people don't realize that there are other road users. So when you are red, when the light is red for you, another person's own is green.
It's green, yes.
Right? But then you just don't care about any other person. And for me, I've talked about this on radio, when I was on radio. I said the road there is where we'll actually see great examples of how selfish Nigerians are. Because you don't care if they're cyclists, you don't care if they're pedestrians. Very important, people who need to cross the road, because they are also road users. You don't care if there are other people coming from whatever side. You're just about yourself, and even if the light is red, you're going anyway, and that is so unfair. So that level of selfishness that we see on the roads, that people just don't care. My own is, I need to move. So whoever it is I offend along the way, fair or foul, I mean, I just take that route. Yeah, and it's so unfortunate.
You know, like they say, it used to be patience is a virtue, but right now in Nigeria, it's survival of the fittest. Who can just get it? So on the road, Mete.
Well, I think I would say when you're on a queue, and then you've given the legitimate space between you and the other driver, and somebody just comes and cross you, but the last time you checked there was nobody.
Yes.
So when you turn your eyes, you now see that he's filled. So if you had moved just a little, that would have been an accident. And then what we call the zebra crossing.
Do we have those?
We do. Yeah,
for zebras.
For zebras, not for human beings.
Just
so you know what Nigerians call the zebra crossing? The one that you get there, and if a car sees you right there, she'll stop. They don't care whether you are there. Who sent
Well,
you to be
that's very-
They're
standing
waiting
there?
for zebras.
You know, the cars at the traffic, they actually stop, they actually park
On
on
it,
the
yes,
zebra.
yes.
On the zebra.
So you don't even have a place to stand. And then the pedestrian bridge, the fact that
Tell me
the
about
pedestrian refuse to use the bridge, but they will rather cross the road and get knocked down by cars. And then sometimes they get to the middle of the road and they are telling a car that is on a high speed to stop so they can cross. You get it. Although they tell you that the pedestrian bridge, you have robbers and people who molest them there.
Right.
So I don't know how much of that, but those are the things that really baffle me on our roads.
Yeah, I've also seen the one who drove from, that is a 4 or 5 lane. He drove from the first lane
All the way.
all the way to the other one, and the level which I held my brake like I was sure I was going to hit him.
I think there are just so many things that people need to consider on the road, because when I was learning to drive, the person who taught me says, look, you need to drive like
You're the only sane
you're
one.
Only your head correct.
defensive driving, right? Like only your head
Correct.
correct. I like that one. That's how you drive, because everybody you see on the road is after one thing or the other. So you need to be sane, and you need to drive for all the people around you. That's another thing I learned. How that is possible and how I've managed that, God has seen me through. But honestly, it's something that we need to change. It's not the president that will come and do it for us.
No way.
It is an individual thing. And that's why change begins with me.
Me.
If I want to see that discipline, Lee Kuan Yew, of Singapore, he said something really important. If you want to reach your goals and dreams, you cannot do it without discipline. And that's the culture that we need to bring back. So we've dealt on this level of indiscipline for so long, and it's not just on the roads. It's on queues. It's in the banks. It's in schools. It's everywhere you turn.
And our children are picking it up.
In church, maybe there is food being shared. At weddings. Come on, seriously.
Yeah,
it's
so-
just a culture of indiscipline that we need to change.
Yeah, and so
And it's an attitudinal problem.
Absolutely.
A problem of attitude.
She mentioned something earlier, and I think it's a very apt message that we need to take on. That yes, there has been a campaign, do the right thing, change begins with you, war against indiscipline and all of that. But the point of reinforcing that message, I think sometimes that's where we have lost it. To reinforce the message and put the message in people's ears. There's something about reinforced learning.
yes,
that
power of repetition.
Absolutely. And people need to hear that message over and over again. Maybe they've forgotten, maybe they're just not paying attention when the message is being shared or aired or something. And we need to repeat those messages for people to know.
Yes, I was just going to say, what's the way forward? Because when you keep telling them, but because it's something that, I don't know, some would say it's in the DNA, is in the DNA.
No, it's not there at the end.
Yeah, so I don't know, but so
It's a choice.
Absolutely.
It's
It's a choice.
been talked about over and over again. So if not, maybe the enforcement officers are not doing enough. But let me take this message very quickly from Ancestor from Apo. He said, it is obvious that painted taxis are not expected to obey traffic rules in the FCT. Unfortunately, law enforcement officials do nothing
They only
when
help
they
them.
commit these offences.
Yes.
Often the unbelievable traffic we witness every day is as a result of painted taxis and the keke counterparts and others who disobey traffic rules. Then the task force officials are even the greatest problem. The other day, some task force officials jumped into a moving Dangote trailer
Yeah.
Okay.
They do
and
that.
were dragging the wheel
Yes.
with the driver.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was so scary and heartbreaking. I think most Nigerians are not fit for driving anything with engine. This is Ancestor from Apo. Now that is the problem.
Yeah. Some
The
people
enforcement
think-
officers.
And your video showed that feature actually clearly showed that sometimes the enforcement officers are the problem. And this is where NOA, I think NOA needs to do much more. There's so much more that NOA needs to do
True.
with the issues around enforcing discipline. If we want to see a better society, then we all need to work together. But the NOA needs to spearhead this to ensure that
maybe they should
correct
work
our mindset.
Because they cannot really enforce, right?
We are not
enforcement officers.
We are not enforcement officers.
And
that's why even the white brigade does not. They just go to speak to you.
Exactly.
Sir, you shouldn't park here. You shouldn't have done it this way. Children want to cross, so please wait. So you keep talking because our job is to keep talking.
Yes.
You keep talking. You keep.
You keep talking. Then your enforcement officer should keep trying to see that people are being punished, because that's why they work.
They'll keep going on and on. If there's no punishment, if there's no consequence, my husband always says that. See, in Abuja, we're losing so much money from indiscipline, because people are just indisciplined at different levels, and then if we're not taxing those people for their acts of indiscipline, we're losing so much revenue.
Cost you something.
If people are actually taxed for this, if they are taxed the right way, not that one that you go to one corner and then they say, hey brother, how far, what's up, and there's no receipt for the 5,000 that you give,
and you pay into a commercial account, not
that. You understand? If there is no receipt, if you don't have those tickets like we have abroad and in other places, if you don't have those tickets that are counting against you, you understand? Those tickets are counting against the people that they have violated traffic, they've done this offense, they've done this or that, and they're counted against them. If we don't have such a system in place, this will go on.
Yes, I know that they have the cameras on traffic lights. Yeah. So if you like, enjoy yourself. Keep breaking.
You don't need to jump into anybody's car.
Don't need to jump into anybody's car.
You don't need to jump into anybody's car.
That thing is dangerous, as far as I'm concerned.
It's a hazard.
Like you said, even in Togo, like just close by here, you see. So you just wonder.
It's just a whole lot of things that need to change from our mindset, and of course the systemic change that needs to happen.
I think it shows that what we are trying to prove, that we are smart. We have some intelligence that is more than the other person. And so sometimes, even when you travel out, for those who do, they will tell you that as soon as you get into a place or a space, and you will just do something and the person say, Nigeria?
Where are you from?
Or sometimes they start off with, you are Africa. And then he say, which part of it? He say Nigeria. He say, Nigeria.
Yeah, Nigeria.
Now,
that's true.
Let's take it that we are doing the right thing. That is an applaud for the country. If it is the right thing we are doing and you are recognized that, you are a Nigerian and you did this, wow, this is beautiful. For me, it is big accolade for the country. But if it is for the wrong that they are noticing you and say, you're a Nigerian, I think that is a setback for us. And
I don't know.
We don't need to go that way.
Please be part of this conversation once again. Send messages. I see a couple of you trying to call. Please just text or WhatsApp only to our phone line 081-177-82020. Tell us your contribution. What are some of the many many attitudes that people display that you really frown at and think we should change? If you want to provide a solution or two, would appreciate it. Anyway, I like the fact that you are just supposed to reorientate our mind, tell us this and all. It's too BB grammar. Many people don't seem to, once you just turn the other way, like when we go out to ask people questions, they'll tell you, yes, people should be doing it, but they are actually one of those breaking it. So it's plenty grammar. Are you working with security agencies to see that all your grammar translates to something?
Yeah, the NOA is one organization that must work with everybody, must work with every organization, every ministry of government. So anything that is going on, we are part of it. It's like we are nosy. You must put your nose inside every stuff. You work with different organizations. And then, whether we like it or not, it's just is a problem of attitude. Like she said, it begins from the home. She made a mistake one day and she ensured that she put it right, that child, it gets into the child's psyche that I did wrong. I repent of that wrong. You cannot do it because it is completely wrong. But some of us as parents, we it's like the dining table for us. You tell your child, who is that? It's Uncle John. Tell him I'm sleeping. Is that NOA that will come and tell your child that thing your father said is wrong? Or your child wants to take
just
exam.
as little as that.
Yes,
Absolutely.
your child wants to take exam, and the child says, my teacher is always failing me, he's doing like this. Say, okay, I will go and see your teacher, it will not happen again. And you go to see the teacher, or you do something that makes the child accelerated from wherever he or she is. Yeah. And you think the child is dumb. The child knows that you did something to help the child. Yeah. What have you taught that child? You've already taught the child that when you also become a parent, that's the way to go. So his attitude is just the style. We hear that they do all underage children driving cars. Is it the police that should tell the parents that your child is not yet 18, which is the legal age, so you should, or is it NOA that should go and tell a parent that don't let your child who is not 18 to do that? The life of your child is more precious to you than NOA. So why should it be NOA crying over your child who is 18, who is not yet 18 but is driving car and does not have the boldness or the strength?
All right. So very quickly, let's go on the street where we sought to know from Nigerians what your thoughts on disobeying traffic rules and what the punishments should be.
Sometimes people break laws because there's no proper system to guide them from not breaking the laws, or sometimes they are not fully informed about what the law requires of them. And we have situations where people break laws because there's the people that set the laws for them don't really abide by the law. So it's like do what I do, act better than do what I say.
When we say leaders are not leading us by example, these leaders, they didn't fall from heaven. They are from the society. So if we violate the law, it means that when we also have the opportunity to become leader one day, it's the same thing we are going to do. So the leadership begins with every one of us because we are part of the society.
Nigerians have this tendency we're quite impatient as Nigerians. So by the time we see, there's nobody on the road, nobody's even passing at the moment, why don't I just go? And they just go because there's even nobody there to tell them to stop.
Everybody have their different reasons why they disobey the law and why they obey the law. But I'm speaking from my own perspective. Law should be obeyed, you understand? And law should be meant for everybody, not for some certain persons and for certain people. Nobody's above the law.
The court is there to punish them in respect of any breach of law.
The leadership has to show us example. You understand? Because as a father now, if I say my children should obey me equally, I should obey another senior. You understand? I should do what is right so that my children will follow suit. If our leaders will do what is right, Nigerians will be forced to obey.
We should hold the people in, on the top in government as being responsible for the first breaking of the laws in this country.
Since the law doesn't favor the citizens feel that they don't feel concerns when creating these laws. So definitely, if it's me too, I won't abide by those rules.
Why do you think the law does not favor the citizens? What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is the people creating these laws, they create it for themselves, putting themselves into consideration. They don't put the citizens into consideration. So that's what I feel.
All right, thank you very much for remaining with us. It's still the Medley Show, and I'm Cecil, and I've been having a conversation with Inyaude and Mete Dekobe on our culture of indiscipline. Where did we get it wrong? And we're going to try to provide solutions as we go along. Now, earlier you talked about queues. Oh, queues. That's another area where everywhere. You are in a party, like you say, you're asking for food. You just cannot wait for turn. I don't know, it's just something.
It's everywhere, and it's so sad, that, and as you said, it has become a culture.
Sadly.
It's a negative culture. And I know this show definitely is to try to see how we can bring out the positives and turn things around. But, just as simple as just waiting your turn. When on the food queue, for instance. No, so people just want to shunt and go forward and go to the front and bulldoze their way and all of that. But there is a queue. Why not respect that? Does that mean you're above the people who are on the queue? It's as simple as that. I know, at Luxtera we've had a number of interventions, right?
You just took it out of me.
What's that?
I was just going to ask you about Luxtera.
At Luxtera we've had so many interventions, talking to young people and all of that. And there's an intervention going on right now. We call it the Integrity Project. And there's a young lady, an NYSC member, who thought about, okay, so what exactly can I do? And she's part of a group. What exactly can I do to make a difference? And she thought about their biometrics verification exercise. I think they do that monthly or so, and everywhere is so rowdy. It's a crazy thing. People need to shunt. People just go everywhere for that to happen, right? But then she thought about it with her group to say, look, we can do something. And they decided to get reflective jackets and get people to actually queue.
On their own.
To queue. And they're monitoring the queue. So those of them with the reflective jackets, they're like putting people, you have to join the queue. This is where you are. And you know what? It was faster and easier doing that. So you actually see that when you queue, when you just hold on, patiently wait your turn, and just stay there, it's actually faster. It's easier for everybody. It's just like a fuel queue, for instance. So everybody wants to enter the filling station at the same time. How is that going to work? Or people who are shunting from different sides to enter the filling station. Meanwhile, if you actually join the queue is moving. Everybody gets in line, and you get your fuel, and you move.
And many times when you get to see traffic on the road, very bad traffic, you realize that it's just a bottleneck in front. It's a 3-lane road.
Yes.
Suddenly it's turned to
It's
6.
5 or 6.
So when you now get to the tiny part, everybody is now struggling
for the one
space.
No, it's just thing we need to. It's a reorientation that we need. It's a mindset shift.
I don't know.
It's a mindset. No, it's a mindset shift to actually see my role. And that's what we do at Luxtera, to make people see what is your role. You have a role to play in this. So what is my role? Father George talks about discipline, right? He has a very interesting definition for discipline. He says, let me read it because I don't want to miss any part of it. He said discipline is doing the right thing at the right time.
Oh yeah, I had it.
In the right place, with the right person, in the right manner, in the right measure, whether it is convenient or not. Now that last part is the most important part of that definition, because it may not be convenient for me joining a long queue, but then it is the right thing to do. So why not just do it because it's the right thing to do?
I think shunting. Shunting. You shunt even while we drive.
They switch to shunt.
Yes. So you are showing your intelligence and proving the stupidity of the person who is on the queue.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. You are trying to prove your own intelligence, and that the person who has obeyed the rule is an idiot.
True.
That if he or she is intelligent, shouldn't be standing there. And so you come from the back of the queue, and you form another lane. Then when you get to that very straight and narrow path, you want to come in front of the person. And now, if the person refuses, others will say, which one be your own now? The fact that others will not support you shows you that it is something they've come to accept as good for them. You understand? I've seen occasions where somebody breaks the rule, or on a queue, even in a supermarket or something, and then somebody comes and says, look, my dear, I think this person was here, so you should go back to the queue. And then somebody else will say, now wait, not be all of us one by. Everybody go come out here. At the airport, the same thing. Now, please, let's talk seriously. People who go to the airport to fly, there are not some idiots, some people who are not learned or exposed or anything. And so if at that level we are doing that, this orientation you are talking about, are you trying to teach somebody who is supposed to know and knows it? You were quoting Father. Let me quote the one that I saw in the Bible. Say, he that knows what to do and does not do it. He knows what to do, but he has chosen not to do it because he thinks that Those who are doing the other shunting and the smart way, they are getting to their destination and getting things done for them quickly. And so why should we or why should I do that? So it's a choice. It's a choice because you are telling yourself, look, nobody go call me mumu here.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
When you're on the queue, others will come and look at you and they pass.
Yeah.
They will look at you, they pass. You are seeing them in front,
Right.
and they are doing the wrong thing. And when they get there, the security that is in
special,
front
yeah.
does not send them back.
Yeah.
Yes, they don't send
They
them,
don't
they
send
get
them
them
back.
back. Sean sir, just because of
They don't send them back.
usually it's because of what they are going to get at the end of the day from the supposed VIP.
And what difference would
No,
that
but
make at the end
yes,
of
no,
the day?
sometimes it's not even the VIP. That's the one that pains me. So when I am in a place and I see that, I say, come, my dear. President is not here, or vice president is not here, governor is not here. Now we they do ourselves here.
Yeah.
So whom are you blaming?
And that's why
These people are not here because you always you always tell people say, oh, it's the elite.
Yeah, they're
those
the ones causing it.
No, when you come to the nitty-gritty of the day, everybody appears to be doing the corruption shunting on the road because we don't recognize it as corruption.
Yes. That's the thing.
No, we don't see it as corruption.
We need to
Your
link
mind is corrupt.
Yeah.
Your mind is corrupt, and that's why
I was just going to quote a book, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, where it said the oppressed have been so oppressed by the oppressors that the oppressed no longer see oppression as oppression, but as a way of life.
Absolutely.
Anyhow, let's take a quick break. Let's look at this feature that takes a look at our queuing culture and the way we're getting it wrong.
Patience is often said to be a virtue, but for many Nigerians, that idea only resides in the book. They say it's survival of the fittest. It is not uncommon to see people anxious to be attended to. As such, shun an organized system to get priority service. Some defaulters cause chaos in the queues, and only those who can shout and fight get their way. Sometimes, defaulters say they are VIPs and cannot be seen on the line with ordinary people. Some of the instances where flaunting of queues are common practice are at fuel stations, airports, supermarkets, banking halls, ATM points, hospitals, cinema ticket areas, restaurants, and registration centers. Flaunting of queues is common among motorists. An instance of a 3-lane road can turn to 5 or even 6 by impatient road users who cannot endure waiting for their turns. In many cases, they create bottlenecks on the road, causing severe traffic jams and sometimes accidents. In banks, hospitals, and some establishments, the rule breakers bribe their ways to bypass queues, while those who would not or cannot offer bribes are left to wait or sometimes are unattended to. In June 2017, a bill proposing 6 months imprisonment for persons who distort queues in public places killed second reading at the House of Representatives. Abubakar Amuda Kanike, who proposed the bill, said, "The bill underscores the need to reawaken a derailed national culture by proposing disciplinary measures to guide Nigerians in their daily behaviors. In our society today, out of total disregard for other persons who strive to do the right thing by conducting themselves orderly in public places, a large number of Nigerians distort queues and go unpunished. Whatever happened to the bill remains unknown. While all envision an orderly Nigeria, let's try practicalizing the 2016 slogan of the NOA, "Change begins with me."
Welcome back to the program, and it's still the Medley Show. All right, I have a few messages to take here, then we'll get back with our conversation. Good afternoon. Please, who is giving Danfo drivers in Lagos license? These guys don't care about anything. They just want to start their Danfo and drive. They drive against traffic, park anywhere they want. They will even drag the road with you simply because they have nothing to lose. I think they should have their own lane so private cars can go peacefully, I beg. Then this one says, who's this? Agbero. These are set of nuisance. Oh, okay, that's a strong word for TV. Sorry, Emmanuel, I can't take your message from Lugbe. Thank you for having this educative program, and the guests. Thank you for your thoughts. Most parents claim it's wise for underage children to drive, which is not wise indeed. All legal road users have to be educated about the road respectively.
Yeah.
Road safety authorities should at all times show equality of penalty to all defaulters. All right, thank you very much. You say your name is Slide. All right, I'll take the last one now. We'll get back to our discussion. Good afternoon, everyone. One, why is it so difficult for our people to understand the purpose of zebra crossing? I mean, no respect for pedestrians by motorists. And what are the steps being taken by government to make a stand on its law for any defaulters? Still talking about the enforcement, guys. The war against the Discipline Enforcement Agency that we know in those days in General Buhari's military government, they were very active. But why don't we hear of them anymore? Okay, I think she says that Mente said that they are not enforced. What are they now in your agency?
Even then, they were not enforcers. They were working with the enforcement agency. So if their own job was to talk, the enforcers were to pick you up and discipline you.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's it. But they still wear the same uniform that they were wearing from the day they were inaugurated.
All right. Okay. Well, we like someone said, zebra crossing. Let's.
That I think the matter of Nigerians not really understanding what zebra crossings are and all of that. It's from our education, even from school. From school, children should actually be taught. This is a zebra crossing, this is what you see on the road, this is what the lines on the road, the broken lines, the straight line. It should actually be part of the curriculum in school. And of course, NOA, I go back to NOA because I'm always touching NOA. I'm always doing that. Right? NOA has a big role to play. NOA is in all the local government areas of this country. I know NOA complains a lot about funding, but then NOA still has work to do in ensuring that people are educated about basic things. The zebra crossing is one of them. And I think NOA can actually make that happen. Yes, the road safety have their roles to play in ensuring, that we also learn about road signs and road. But that's a different conversation, right? But NOA, I think, has such a big role to play. Not everything is about money. Everything's not about money. Things are actually about educating. You can collaborate. NOA can collaborate with radio stations because it's for the greater good. It's not for any individual's good, but it's for the greater good of the community. NOA can get into collaborations with stations. I know we need to make money.
In 1 month,
I know.
Once they start finding these people, they are going to.
I know. I understand that whole, all the shenanigans there. But there are collaborative efforts that can be done.
I agree with you too.
And I believe the NOA should be at the forefront of this, of educating Nigerians on this reorientation. Like I said, it's a mindset shift that we need to get into. And if we don't get into it soon, then we're going to collapse. And we'll keep blaming government, keep blaming this person, keep blaming that person.
The president is the reason why.
NOA can actually turn it around the people to pull their resources together and actually think of the roles that they can play.
It's very easy.
Think of what we can do.
It's very easy to blame the government. Very easy. In fact, it's very easy to blame the government. Meta, you wanted to react?
Yeah. I'm not reacting. I would just say that even as we speak, NTA is running several jingles on voter education. Radio stations are running jingles. Then you ask yourself, you tell somebody, collect your PVC. There's a jingle for that running. These are all partnerships with civil society. Nigeria is large, yes, but we are still at the point where we are saying what a parent should teach a child cannot be taught outside.
I agree that.
You can't teach a child what a parent should teach. Every parent wants the teacher to do something. If something goes wrong, they are looking for who made it happen. But they are forgetting that these are things that we were taught. Look, when growing up,
All right,
people
we're
will
running
tell
out of
you.
time, but quickly.
Yeah, but when we're growing up, they'll tell you, picking not be one person they raise them. Everybody does. But today, you discipline somebody's child in a manner that is unacceptable to the person. The parent is coming after you. The neighbor corrects a child before the mother comes. In our day, your mother will come and ask the neighbor, how many strokes you flog him? He said na 2. He said if na your own, na only 2 you go flog him. You will join and add.
5.
So there are things that you learn from home. When you learn from home, you don't forget. Teach the child the way he or she should go. When they grow up, they will not depart from it.
Absolutely.
We were all children, we were all taught. Now we are old and we are doing our own thing.
And not teaching the children.
Not teaching your own children.
Which is wrong.
I don't know. We are spoiling. It says spoil the rod, spare the child.
Spare the rod and spoil the child.
Well, I'll take your last one very quickly, but let me take a few messages.
Sure.
It is also wrong to throw canned bottles out of the road. I can see that.
Banana peels.
It's better for any person who is driving to understand that the other person is, I wouldn't use the word that you use, but yes, I get your point. It's me, brother Yakolo, your guest, speaking the truth. I don't know what you've just said, but, well, thank you, brother Yakolo. The level of, another strong word, the level of attitude of some parents display and call it civilization is something else. Praise should sit up. It's a long one. Bridget, Friday, thank you very much. Good day, ladies. I love the job you're doing right there. I say no more for messages, but I have to go now. Very, very quickly, your last words. Let me start with you.
For me, Mete has said it all. It actually starts from the home. What kind of examples are we showing our children? What kind of disciples do we want? Because that's where discipline comes from. Discipleship. Followers. So what kind of disciples do we want following our examples as parents? We have a lot to do. And if we want a truly disciplined society, then it should start from home. Many parents need reparenting. That's what my executive director, Father George, always says.
I agree.
But we do have a lot of work to do.
Mete.
Well, I think at this point, as National Orientation Agency, we'll do what we have been mandated to do. Parents, do what you have been called to do as parents. You are called. Schools will do what they need to do because you are paid to teach the children. Our religious houses will preach. You are not under any obligation to accept or not to accept, but you have heard. Therefore, Nigerians, do your part. The change begins with you.
All right, indeed, change begins with all of us. And in the report by Iberia, I just forgot to add, in 2016, there was a motion moved at the National Assembly House of Reps that there should be a 6-month penalty for defaulters of queues and all that. But I don't know how that went. That has been swept under the carpet. Well, welcome to Nigeria. All right, thank you very much for being part of this program. I see your messages. I appreciate it. Inyawo Day of Luxterra Foundation. Thank you very much for coming. Special Duties and State Operations Director, NOA, Mete Edekobi. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and my name is Cecil. Let's do this again in another 7 days. Bye-bye.